Up first this morning is Robin. Robin, good morning.
Good morning to you, sir.
Robin, welcome to the show. Without mentioning any company names, tell us your story and let's see what we can do for you. Away you go, Robin.
Right, 17th of February 2020, which was last year. Mm-hmm. I think you remember.
I do. Are you saying that I'm drunk, Robin? Is that what you're saying?
No, of course not.
No.
Well, anyway, we bought a well-known from a well-known retailer a television that I thought was a reasonable make rather than one of the nondescript ones.
Yep.
And the sound was working, but the picture just literally disappeared one evening.
When did it disappear?
When?
Yeah, roughly.
About 3 weeks ago.
So 3 weeks ago. So in total, how many months had you had that TV for before the picture started to go?
17 months.
So you've had it for 17 months. How much did you pay for it?
$189.99.
It can't be a very big TV.
It's a 32-inch.
32-inch. I mean,
I know it's not a lot of money, but...
Well, it is if you haven't got a lot of money. £189 is still £189 for a TV.
Exactly.
That's the way that I see it.
Anyway, the picture went. We took it back to the shop where we were told, as it was out of warranty by 3 months, I would have to ring the manufacturer.
Well, that's a nonsense straight away, but I'll let you carry on.
I haven't finished yet. I rang them. They gave me another number to ring their engineers. Rang them. They gave me another number for the local engineer, which was, I'll come to that in a minute. It's a 50-mile round trip to their engineers. We would have to deliver it to them. And for us, as I say, that would be a 50-mile round trip. And we would have to pay in the region of £150. Then they would do a report. The report would come to us. Then we would have to send the report to, I think it was Widnes in Lancashire. So that's as far as we got.
So you're here this morning because you've got a TV that is 17 months old, paid 189 quid for it, and you've got no picture.
That's it.
Okay.
And when I went to the shop, I did quote them what I've heard it on your show quite often, the consumer...
well, let me just go over that, because a lot of companies that we deal with on this show, they don't know the law. So the Consumer Rights Act of 2015, that's the legislation which protects you. Yeah. So that states an item must be fit for purpose, must be of reasonable quality, and must last for a reasonable amount of time. That's the law. A company cannot, and let me stress this again, a company cannot overrule the law. So if you buy a product that doesn't last a reasonable amount of time, you have a right to complain to that company and expect them to sort it out. And let me stress again, I know you're trying to get in, but that contract is with the company that you paid the money to, i.e. the retailer, not the manufacturer. So do not allow a company to fob you off. So you've been listening to the show for a while. You went back to them and you explained the Consumer Rights Act of 2015 to them. What did they say to you?
Well, I didn't explain it quite as you just did. Were you reading that, or was that...
all in my mind. All in my mind.
Well, I did go parts of that in the shop, and she said, no, gave me a piece of paper that says, we are here to help. And on the back of this piece of paper, there is every possible electrical company that you could think of that she ringed, the one that we are talking about, and you know the rest.
But Robin, you've got the contract with them. So look, I think what we need to do this afternoon is go away, have a word with the company, remind them of the law. But here's the question to you, Robin.
Yes?
And maybe we can put this out to our listeners. 189 quid for a TV that's 32 inches. It's lasted 17 months. Do you think that's a reasonable amount of time?
No,
For a
which is
TV of
what
that cost to last?
which is exactly what I said in the shop.
Yeah.
And but you say they don't understand the law. It is a nationwide company.
This TV that you've got, and please be honest, because apparently there are, and I've heard this on this show before, that there are certain things in a TV which will allow the company to look at how many hours that you've actually used that TV for. Has this TV been left on 24 hours a day,
No.
7 days a week?
No.
So how often were you actually using the TV?
Well, how often do you use a TV? Evenings?
Yeah,
Sometimes in the day?
roughly every day. How many hours?
Oh, well, from say 6 o'clock news to 10 o'clock at night.
So 4 hours a day, which
Yeah.
is not much, is it? Because my TV that I've had now for 5 years pretty much runs all day long, because my little boy, King Theodore, he loves the cartoons, Robin. And if those cartoons get turned off, it all kicks
You
off.
watch it as well.
You know what? Some of my favourite TV shows at the moment are cartoons. I love Paw Patrol. I'm sat there. When I
yes,
first started
yes.
watching it, I was like, why am I watching all these dogs that are solving problems? You know, a year later, it's now
You're
one of my
solving
favourite...
problems.
Well, yes. I'm trying to anyway. But I certainly like Paw Patrol. So, Robin, what I'm going to do, I will phone the company this afternoon and I will ask them what's going on. Because this... I mean, nothing is ever simple on this show, but this, on the face of it, does seem pretty simple. 17 months, is that a reasonable amount of time for a TV to last?
Well,
That's
that-
cost
that is
189 quid. Personally, and this is just a personal opinion, nothing to do with the BBC, I think a TV of that price, if I bought that for somebody in my family, and after 17 months the picture had completely gone, that for me is not a reasonable amount of time.
Well,
I
no,
don't think.
we have bought what you may call cheap and nasty tellies for the caravan when we went away.
Yeah.
They're still going 10 years later.
Yeah. So let's go away and just say to them, look, this is the situation. You told Robin to go off to the manufacturer. His contract is with you, not the manufacturer. Can you sort it out? And we'll leave it like that.
Right. Lovely job.
Robin,
Thank you
I'm going to
very
pass you back to Hannah, who's dealing with a problem very soon about seagulls. Do you like seagulls, Robin?
much. Not particularly, no. They make a lot of noise. And
They
they neck
do.
your chips.
They make noise, they nick your chips, and sometimes they do even more than that. So we've got
Yeah,
a story
well, yeah.
coming up with seagulls very soon with Hannah. Robin, leave it with us. I'll pass you back to Hannah. We'll take all of your details, and I will make that phone call on your behalf this afternoon.
Thank you very much.
Now, Clara came to the JVS show with quite a unique consumer problem. She's got issues with an infestation of gulls.
They've been here with us for a long time, but year on year, I think they've found more and more places to nest, and their flock has got bigger and bigger and bigger year on year in. We live quite near an industrial estate, so there's a lot of large buildings with flat roofs. So it's absolutely perfect for them for nesting, but it's not so perfect for us because they then decide to make all sorts of noise any time of the day or night, 3 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, midday, 6 o'clock in the evening, all the time. They're very, very noisy.
Well, Clara and her neighbours on the case, they've got their own WhatsApp group to brainstorm ideas on how they can get these gulls to move on, but they don't seem to be getting anywhere, hence why she came to the JVS show. And Clara is back on the line right now. Good morning, Clara.
Hello, good morning. How are you?
Very well. Can I get it off my chest right now, Clara?
Go on
As
then.
cute as some of these seagulls may look, they are thugs. All of them.
Yeah, they're getting bigger as well, I think.
I saw
don't
a
remember them
seagull.
being this large.
There was a video of a seagull that I saw recently walking into Greg's, of all places,
Yes,
and
I
helping
saw
himself to a sandwich.
Yeah, brilliant.
I mean, where's the law?
Well, you've got to give them kudos for trying, haven't you?
Well, they are certainly arrogant. They are certainly thuggish. So you came to the show because you were stuck for ideas. Where
Yeah.
are you? Are you at home at the moment?
I am, yes.
Are you on your mobile phone by any chance?
No, this is my landline. Is
Landline.
it rubbish?
No.
I
The
stand somewhere else.
landline's fine, but I was hoping that maybe we could hear some of the seagulls in the background.
Oh, I see. Well, it's a movable landline. I don't know if they're making noises. They might be in bed, you see. They tend to make noises at antisocial hours. So,
Yeah.
no, there's none about at the moment.
They always say never work with children or animals. That's what they say. So look, Hannah has got an update on this to come very, very soon. But how have you been getting on with your friends in your WhatsApp group, brainstorming ideas to try and sort this problem out?
Yes, so we've written a letter, tried to keep it sort of polite and friendly, sort of we're in this together kind of situation letter, and hand-delivered it to the, I think there was 8 main businesses on the industrial estate. Interestingly enough, we've had a response from one of them the same day, like a matter of hours later they came straight back, but only from one. And I'm not sure, maybe they're just more aware of the situation. They've noticed the noise and the droppings themselves, so maybe that's why they responded quickly. So one business is already on the case, apparently.
Right.
So they say. But I don't think they've got very far.
I mean, for those that missed your conversation with Jonathan last week, and people dip into the radio all the time, just how is this affecting your life at the moment, Clara?
Well, it just totally disrupts your nights. I mean, and day, if you're a night worker and you sleep during the day, then it's going to disrupt your day because they're just non-stop all the time. So it's making people ill. It's affecting stress.
Yeah.
People can't sit out in their gardens because it's a bit of a gamble if you're going to get dropped on.
Well, that's the last thing you want. But obviously you need your sleep. We all need our sleep. So how many times per night are these seagulls waking you up?
Oh, I wake up at least twice a night.
Twice a night.
I mean, it's not too bad for me because I sort of wake up, go, roll over and go back to sleep.
Imagine if you've got a young child as well.
Twice,
Imagine that situation.
Or if sleep is very important to you, like if you have an autoimmune disease, you need your sleep. And if you're the sort of person that gets woken up and then can't go back to sleep, that's it, game over, isn't it, really?
Well, I know that Hannah has been looking into this as well. She is now our official seagull correspondent. Good morning, Hannah.
I like that title, yes.
How have you got on looking into this? Because this is a really, really unusual consumer case for us. We've never dealt with anything quite like this before.
No,
so
we
who have you been
haven't.
talking to?
So Jonathan sent me off to have a chat with the council. So I spoke with them last week, and it's Hertsmere Council. And they have sent a statement with regards to the seagull problem in Clara's area. They say, unfortunately, we are unable to deal with noises from wildlife, nor do we have a statutory duty to take action against the seagulls. They say, like other wild birds, gulls are protected under the Wildlife and Countryside Act of 1981, so it's an offence for them to kill or injure any or destroy any nests and things like that. They do say that general licences issued by the Department of Environment, Food and Rural Affairs, that's DEFRA, allow control measures to be taken when there are public health or public health and safety concerns. So although the law doesn't permit controls of these gulls, it is down to the landowner and the building owner to deal with the issue if there's a public health related problem there. So I have been in touch with DEFRA and I'm awaiting a response from them, but the council very much putting the landowners and the business building owners at fault here if there is a problem.
The business owners, they have got the power to deal with this if they want to.
It seems like they can put some control measures in place.
I suppose the question has got to be, is there a responsibility on the business owners for the local people? How far away are these businesses, Clara, from the properties there? Is it really, really close or not?
Oh, it's very close.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's
having
not
a look on the
end of
map,
the
it's a
road.
stone's throw. It's literally, they are your neighbours, aren't they, really,
Because
Clara?
if
Yeah,
you've
they
got a
are.
business that's, say, 100 yards away, you could argue, well, there is no responsibility on local people. But if it's a stone's throw away and the properties are there as well.
The businesses backs onto some of our roads.
Yeah. Because I went to a story in Milton Keynes where we had a similar situation where there was a responsibility on the businesses on behalf of the local people, because the local people up there, Clara, couldn't walk out their front door without being pooed on. And that is,
well, it's getting that way. Yeah.
that is the last thing you want. I've got a sound effect of the gulls. Here they are. I mean, if you said to anybody, where do you think this sound came from? They certainly wouldn't be saying Beds, Herts and Bucks. They would be saying, oh, that's Brighton, that's Southend, Jelly Deals. That's what they'd be saying. So look, if you don't mind, Clara, I think this is what I would like to do moving forward. I know this sounds a little bit creepy, but I'd like to come to your house and I'd like to go inside your bedroom as well.
Oh, how lovely. I haven't had an offer like that in so long.
Because what I would like to do is record 2 or 3 minutes on how this is affecting your life.
Okay.
And then what I can then do is email that to all of those businesses so they can get a better understanding of what it's like for you and the locals.
Yeah, sure.
Because
the
at the
trouble
moment-
is, the best time to get it is about 3:10 in the morning. Is that when you want to come round?
Well, look, I would do what I've got to do.
Justin's there for a sleepover.
Hang on, Clara. I've got to explain this to my wife. Hold on. Imagine ringing up. Yes, darling, I'm going round to a listener's house at 3:10 in the morning to go to her bedroom. How do you feel about that? How do you think that phone conversation might go, Clara?
Well, I don't know. You can just phone my husband and let him know as well, couldn't you? He's going to snuggle between the two of us.
Look, whenever that time may be, this is going to sound really naff, but whenever that time may be, as a BBC reporter, you go when the story is there. So if it's 3:10 in the morning, we will be there. Because what we need to do is record what it's like and then send it to the businesses, because at the moment they've only got on paper how you feel.
Yes.
But if I'm there and it's 3:10 in the morning and you can't get to sleep because of the seagulls, that then might prompt them to do something.
Okay.
So we will go over, above and beyond to try and get this sorted for you.
Should
so
I put
hang on the
a tent in
line.
the garden for you? You can literally camp out.
However you want to do it, you do it that way. I'll speak off air later. We'll arrange a good time, a good day. We'll be over. We'll record what's happening, and hopefully the local businesses will be on board with you, and we can get something sorted. All right.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay.
Thank you very much. That's Clara. More to come on that story. It's the Consumer Hour, BBC Three Counties Radio. I'm Justin Dealey, standing in for JVS this week, and Hannah has the latest for us on the roads.
Rosington Avenue is closed between Aycliffe Road and Haggerston Road in Boreham Wood. That's because of emergency repairs. And in Wing, there are queues on the A418 Leighton Road through the roadworks at Stukely Road. On public transport, buses are running instead of trains on London North Western. That's between Watford Junction and St Albans Abbey because of operational restrictions. If you know of any problems that we're not reporting, you can call BBC Three Counties now on 08081 008800.
Hannah, great work with Clara. You don't fancy that job, do you? 3:10 in the morning, round Clara's house?
I mean, you volunteered now.
Yes.
You should have kept quiet. Maybe I would have gone.
Good point, well made. But certainly we will investigate that story, and more to come on this show. Now to Matt. Matt came to the JVS show after an incident at his local supermarket, which then left him banned from the shop.
Went to leave the store, and the barriers lit up and all the alarms sounded. And so I made my way back into the store, and all of a sudden a young girl, aged about 18 to 20, something like that, came storming over to me, demanded my receipt, and informed me that I'd been shoplifting. I was quite taken aback by her attitude and being accused of shoplifting, and I kind of froze for a minute and didn't know what to do. And I asked her if she would mind getting the receipt from the point of sale. The reason for that is because on a previous occasion in another supermarket, this has happened to me, and the security guard has lost my receipt, and then I've got no proof, and I spent 45 to 50 minutes waiting in the store for them to find my receipt. And I asked them what they had accused me of shoplifting, and they didn't have an answer for me. Within a couple of minutes, I was surrounded by 4 or 5 members of staff, including the security guard and the store manager.
Well, after speaking with Matt, he admitted the way that he behaved may have made the situation worse than it needed to be. But he also told us, of course, on the show that he has bipolar, so sometimes he can react in that way. Well, I agreed to go and speak to the supermarket from Mark's point of view to see what they had to say. And Matt is back on the JVS show right now. Good morning.
Hello there. Thanks for calling me back, Justin.
It's all right, not a problem at all. So for those that missed the conversation on Friday, how long did this actually take to sort out in the end, Matt?
2 hours. In the store I was detained, yeah.
And never at any point during those 2 hours did you produce the receipt, did you?
No, they refused it in the end because the police were coming. They refused to talk to me.
It's got to be said that after all of that, nothing could be proved that said that you stole anything from the store.
I was even searched by the police, and they found nothing on me.
And you were telling us as well that in your shopping you had your medication in there, and you didn't want people going through your medication, which is very personal to you.
Yeah, there's a lot of thought about that. Mental health, 1 in 4 people suffer with mental health problems, and there's a lot of people sort of ridicule you and that because you have.
Well, they
health
shouldn't do
problems.
that because that's outrageous. But I would agree there is still, even though we talk about mental health on the radio, quite often in TV, newspapers, magazines, still, even now, there is a big stigma around mental health.
Yes, there is.
So despite everything that happened on the day, they were very upset. You were clearly very upset as well. People might find it hard to believe, but you still want to use this supermarket moving forward. You're banned at the moment. Why would you still want to use this supermarket, Matt?
Well, it's. I've got a choice of two supermarkets that I go to. One's not very big at all, and the other one, which is the one that this one is in question, is my local one.
So it's your local supermarket. It's a big one. It's got everything that you need. You still want to go there?
Yes.
Well, it is your local store. You still want to use it. So on Friday, I went off and I had a word with the store. When I made the phone call, I spoke to 2 members of staff from that store who, to be honest with you, Matt, were expecting me to call. And we had quite a long conversation about what happened. What's interesting is that their version of events largely matches your version of events as well. So that's a good start. So what I said to them was, look, we've had a situation here where you're not happy with the customer, but the customer is not happy with the store. You still want to go and spend money in that store. And you as a store, I'm sure, still want somebody to come in and spend money with you. So what I said to them was this: would they be willing to cancel the ban? And the ban is for 3 years, that's correct, isn't it?
That's from what I understand. There was a lot going on the day. And
so it's your understanding it's a 3-year ban. At the moment, you cannot go into the store that you want to use to go shopping. So we had a long conversation, went on for about half an hour or so. Very, very accommodating, very, very nice. What they said to me was this: that they would be willing to sit down with you and have a conversation and work out the best way forward. That's what they've said to me. So the update today, very simply, is this. Are you happy with that? Would you be willing to sit down with them and work out the best way forward so hopefully you can use that store again in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. No problem at all. I've got no problems talking to people who talk to me in a respectable manner, and that's all I ask, and that's what I offer. As I say, I recorded the whole incident, and I was totally respectful all the way through. Unfortunately, the store wasn't on that particular day. But
well, we weren't there. We weren't there. We don't know what happened. But you would be happy.
I've got the camera footage.
Well, that's another question I was going to ask you, because if I go into a superstore with a microphone, somebody will tell me to stop recording, because that's not the done thing. You did record something that day. Where is that footage? Has that gone onto social media or not?
Right, as I explained to Jonathan, it has gone onto social media. On YouTube, you've got a private drive.
Okay, let me rephrase that question. Has anybody else in the public seen that footage?
No, it's not available for them to see.
It's not available, okay.
It's just there for my storage purposes only.
So moving forward, if you can sit down and work out a resolution between yourselves, would you then be happy to delete that footage?
I'm not going to delete the footage.
You won't be deleting the footage?
No.
Why not?
In case there's any repercussions in the future. And I think that maybe the store would like a copy to see how they've treated a member.
And you'd be happy to provide that to them?
Yeah, absolutely.
But would you be happy to confirm right now that you would only use that footage if something happened in the future and you weren't happy? So you wouldn't be releasing that on social media for everybody to see right now?
I am not ever going to release that on social media. That is 100% guaranteed. One big promise. I will not do that.
Okay. And obviously, if something like this happens in the future again, and it's happened to me, where somebody's come up to me and said, we need to check your bags. I don't like it myself. But what I do, Matt, I just get the receipt out, I show the person, and we all move on. If something like this happens again, all you've got to do is get that receipt out. Are you happy to say right now that you would do that if it happened again?
If it happened again, I'm a reasonable person. If someone came up to me and approached me in a reasonable manner, then I've got no problems communicating and relaying and having a conversation with that person.
Because there's no point trying to sort this meeting out. If it happens again, you're going to say, well, no, I'm not going to show you the receipt. You would definitely 100%, if it happens again, if the alarms go off, you'd be happy to show the receipt straight away to avoid any sitting down for 2 hours with people trying to work out what's going on. You'd be happy to show the receipt straight away, because I'm sure they'd like to hear that right now.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's good. Okay, so look, what I'll do then, I'll go back to the store and I will say that you are happy to meet with them, and we can work out what day that's going to be. I won't be involved in that process when the meeting happens, but it's just a case of sitting you both down, you can say how you feel, they can say how they feel, and at the end of it, hopefully you can go into your local supermarket and hopefully they will have a customer as well. So it suits all parties.
Yeah, that's what I want.
Leave it to me, Matt. I'll make the phone call later to the store. I'll let them know that you are willing to meet with them, and we'll take it from there, OK? Michelle had some lovely French doors and windows fitted around 5 years ago. Well, last winter she noticed that the seal around one of the doors didn't look right, so she got in touch with the company, and sadly, it's all gone downhill from there.
He opened the door and he took the rubber seal off completely, and he said, I'll take this away. The door will have to come off for a new seal to be refitted. He said, somebody will give you a call to make arrangements for that. So they arranged for somebody to come on the 5th of August. Nobody showed up. So they made new arrangements for the 13th of August. They said, we'll have to make new arrangements. So again, waited in all day, no show. I rung at 4:30 to say, I guess nobody's coming now. And they said, no, and they looked. The person I spoke to said, on here we've got that somebody should have come out on the 5th of August. And I said, yeah, and they didn't. I said, and it was rearranged for today. And he said, well, there's no record.
Well, Michelle feels like that she's been given the run around here and she has had enough. Michelle is back on the JVS show right now. Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning, Justin.
Good morning. How are you today, Michelle?
Very well, thank you.
Lovely. So Hannah has been looking into this one for us here on the Consumer Programme, and I'm hoping we've got some good news. Hannah, what is the very latest, please?
Yeah, so when Michelle came to us, she'd been waiting pretty much since Christmas to get this sorted. So I went and got in touch with the company straight away as soon as the show finished, and they were really shocked that they'd been on the programme or somebody had a complaint about them, but were very, very quick and very, very helpful, I have to say, in listening to me and listening to what Michelle's problem was and doing their best to sort it. So that company is Custom Glaze, and they said that they were going to go off and speak to Michelle and that they're going to sort this out and make sure that this problem was fixed at the next available opportunity and wasn't going to be giving Michelle the runaround anymore. Michelle, they've been in touch with you, haven't they? What have they had to say?
They did. They contacted me on the same day, which was the 17th, and asked me if they, full of apologies, and asked me if I could send some photographs of the door, which I did within an hour. And they said that hopefully that means that the appointment they made for the 27th, they will be able to come hopefully that day with the piece of rubber that's needed and take the door off and refit it. So that's this Friday afternoon.
Oh, that's great news, because there was some concern, wasn't there, that you were going to have another visit for them to come and look at the door, and then they'd have to do another visit to then come and fix the door. And we were saying last week that this is such a small issue that can be fixed so easily if we can kind of combine that one visit to look at it and fix it all in one go, then we can resolve this problem really quickly. So that's good. So they think that they can do everything they need to do to sort it on this Friday. Is that right?
Yes, hopefully. That's their hope. So, and mine as well. So, yes.
Do you feel a bit more reassured this time, Michelle, that finally something is going to happen and it's going to be positive?
I'm more hopeful. I've got my fingers crossed.
Fingers and toes crossed, everything crossed.
So this is like the countdown now. It's Monday and you're thinking Friday. It's finally going to happen.
Do we know what time they're coming on Friday, Michelle?
It'll be Friday afternoon.
Friday afternoon.
So, hopefully, because then it's bank holiday weekend, isn't it? So.
Oh, of course it is. So if we can get it done before the long weekend, that'll be fantastic. And once it is finally done, and Michelle, fingers and everything else firmly crossed for you, do you think you might be having some sort of party on Friday evening to celebrate this is finally over?
We could well be. There may be a glass of wine or two in the garden. If the sun's shining.
So use that new door.
What I'm going to do for the time being, Michelle, if it's all right with you, I'm going to give the company this. That's half the horn. So when they arrive on Friday and they finally put this right for you, they are going to get the full horn on this show. Does that sound good?
Lovely, yes.
And before you go, this company are fans of the show, aren't they?
They are. So when I spoke to the guy on the reception desk when I first called, he was like, I said, you've been featured on a consumer program, and he said, oh, what consumer program? And I said, the JVS show, and he went, really? I listen to that every day. And I said, well, were you listening at about 11:30 today? Because that's when we were discussing this problem. And they were so helpful and so apologetic when I called. So I am really glad that they got onto it so quickly for you, and got in touch on that day. So that's great.
What was the name of that TV show? It's on when I had 4 weeks off for my paternity leave. I was watching it every day. It's about a group of bailiffs who go out and get money back for people.
Oh, I know the one you mean.
Bailiffs are coming.
I think it's that one.
There we go.
So they turned up and they said the first thing they did was they knocked on the door, and the person opened the door and went, oh, you're from that TV show. I love that.
It's starstruck.
It's the same situation here, which is good because they know how we work, and by the sounds of it, they are putting things right very quickly for you.
Very hopeful that they're going to be there.
They were great. It's just this particular issue. It's not been so good. Yeah.
Well, we will talk to you next Tuesday because Monday I'm off. I've actually got a day off, Michelle.
Da-da-da.
I know. To get the violins out.
Hopefully the sun will be shining this time.
Hopefully. So what we'll do, we'll make sure Friday happens, and then we'll talk to you next Tuesday on the programme, and hopefully we can then give the company the full horn. For the time being, Michelle, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much and have a good day. So without mentioning any company names, tell us what's happened to you, Barry, and let's see if we can help you out on the Consumer Show. Away you go, sir.
Well, Justin, in May of this year, I cashed in some premium bonds,
Right.
and to my surprise, they credited the money okay, and that was not a problem. However, I just happened to notice on their communication to me, they advised me of all the outstanding or the current bonds left, the numbers. And I just happened to notice that one of them was missing. And it may have been missing for much longer. I've never even checked it before for many years. But when I looked at it, this premium bond from 1956, which was a 21st birthday present for me, for £1, is not listed anymore.
It just vanished.
Yeah, just vanished out of thin air.
Now, what I would say at this moment in time, Barry, I know it's very difficult with live radio, but you have mentioned the name of the company, so we just need to be a little bit careful what we say. And please, for anybody who's coming on this show at some point in the future, please, no company names. Okay. So you had this bond that goes back to 1966. 1956. So you've gone off to investigate as to why it's missing. Where have you got with this then, Barry?
Well, I've phoned them, obviously, first of all, just a few days afterwards, and they said, well, you have to write in to us. I said, okay, it's no problem. So I wrote them a letter on the 28th of May of this year, which was, a few days after I received the letter, and telling them why is it missing, etc., blah, blah, blah. And I got a reply to my letter back saying, we need more information from you. I said, no problem. They said, we need to know your previous addresses and some more details. So I wrote back to them again, and I actually copied the premium bond, which I still hold. I copied it, on the computer, I copied it and then sent them that. And I sent them a list of the 2 or 3 different addresses I was staying at after that. And then I got another letter saying, we're investigating it. So this went on, and I got another letter saying that just a single line letter coming back and saying the bond number so-and-so you quoted no longer exists.
Right.
So obviously I've contacted them again by telephone, and they said, well, would you like to fill in the complaint? I said, well, yeah, absolutely. It's not the money. £1 is worth nothing.
So we need to get hold of them and ask them what's happened to this. At the beginning of the conversation, you mentioned about how much it cost and why it was special to you. Just remind us again how much this bond was worth.
£1.
£1, and it was a special birthday present for you back in the day.
It was, yes, from one of my family. Just give me a £1 premium bond for my 21st birthday.
And sometimes these things, as small as they are, Barry, it's the sentimental value to you because you got this for a special reason back in the 1950s. It means something to you, doesn't it, clearly?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's just a bit of history. I say I was only 21 at the time. I'm 77 now. And I just kept it out of, not for the value of it, of course.
Yeah.
So I just kept it for, just a feeling of history.
Yeah, absolutely.
But,
it's a part of your life that you celebrated. Have you ever won much on the premium bonds, by the way, Barry?
Yeah, bits and pieces. I think in the early days I'd calculated that I was getting more than 20% return on it.
Wow, so a good investment.
Oh, yeah, not bad investments. These days, of course, it's all gone down.
Well,
but, I mean, I could have won something. Who knows? I could be a millionaire by now.
Well, I mean, that might be going a little bit too far. It sounds like a sketch out of Only Fools and Horses now.
Yeah.
Look, what I'm going to do, I'm going to pass you back to Hannah. Hi, Hannah.
Hello.
Have you got any of these bonds yourself? If so, are you a millionaire? A bit like Barry might be.
I do have some, but I don't have very many. I think the most I've ever won in any one go is 50 quid. I reckon I've probably won maybe 75 quid, 100 quid over my lifetime.
What did you get for your 21st birthday party? Was it a bond or was it something else?
I didn't get a bond, no. I got some jewellery.
I think I
as
got
like
a
a
ring.
sentimental thing, to keep.
And this is what Barry's saying.
Yeah.
It's sentimental to him. It was his 21st birthday. It's not the value of it.
No.
It's just disappeared. So can we get a phone call in and just find out what's going on? What has happened to this bond?
Yeah.
Because Barry's got all of the paperwork to back up what it is and when it was purchased.
And surely it's got to be somewhere, hasn't it? So, yeah, we can absolutely put a call in this afternoon and we'll see what response they have.
Lovely. Thank you, Hannah. And Barry, thank you very much. Look after yourself and we'll be in touch very soon.
Thank you very much.
Andrew purchased a summer house. He paid £990 for a summer house, which included an upgrade for the type of glass used. But on the day of delivery, his wife phoned to get a better idea of when it would arrive. But they got some information that they weren't expecting.
During the discussion, they said they hadn't got the toughened glass, but they could supply standard glass. So we said, OK, we'd go for the standard glass. I think by the time the driver got here, they'd already refunded us the difference in glass, which was fantastic, So the summer house arrived. The delivery driver was very good. He put it where I wanted it. And he said, well, the glass is a bit dirty. I'd got a local builder that was helping. So he came around the following week and we started putting it together. And then we got to the glass. It wasn't actually dirty. We think the glass had been sitting there for a long, long time. In between each pane of glass was paper. Over time, the paper had dissolved and then all the salts had got into the glass. And I thought, I'll be able to clean it. But it turns out you can't.
So Andrew just wasn't happy. He was saying that the glass in the summer house, he just couldn't see out of properly. So I went to Andrew's garden to take a look for myself. So I'm looking out right now. It does look almost hazy, and that's the issue you've got.
It is, yeah. And if you sit sort of at the back and look through it, you'll see it actually gets worse. You just can't enjoy the plants in the garden.
I mean, it's a lovely summer house.
It is.
I can see why you bought it, but at the moment, you're just not happy. Well, on the way out, Andrew then gave me some of the glass. So what I then did was I took that glass, I took it onto the street, and I asked people to look at it and to give me their thoughts. Just look through that glass for us.
Can't do very well.
Would you be happy with it?
No, I wouldn't. It's not clear, is it?
I've described it as hazy. Is that a fair reflection?
Yeah.
Sharon, this is the glass that one of our listeners has got in their summer house. Just look through that glass for me.
Yeah.
If you had that summer house, would you be happy with that glass?
No, because you can't, it's sort of blurry.
If you bought a summer house and that was the glass that was in your summer house, just look through it for me. How would you feel about that?
It's crazy. Yeah, I wouldn't be happy with that at all. Yeah.
Why not?
Well, it's all blurry. It's not like clear glass, is it? It's blurry.
Well, the company were insisting to me that the glass was okay. Well, since all of that, and after a few more conversations with the company, there has now been a dramatic turn of events. I went back to Andrew's house to see what the latest was, and this is what happened. Hi, Andrew, how are you? Don't laugh at my mask, by the way, my leopard print mask.
Yeah, good thanks.
Can't wait to see it. So, your garden looks incredible, by the way. So here we have the summer house, and it looks incredible. So you've got the glass that you want.
Yep.
Everything's perfect now.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's all painted. It's lovely now.
It looks completely different.
It
It looks
does,
so
yeah.
much bigger because the glass you can see completely through
does,
it.
yeah, and you sit inside it and it feels fantastic. You can see really clearly. It does feel really big.
So the last time it was here, I couldn't really see through it. It was fuzzy. We went back to the company. Of course, we took the glass onto the street with the consumer test as well. So what actually happened then?
So we emailed them again, and we got a blank for a week. Totally ignored us. And then my wife said, "Oh, just see if we can see how easy it is to take a pane out." So I did, and it wasn't that bad. So we then went back to them and said I was going to take a couple of days off on holiday if they could supply, pay for the glass. So they then agreed to that. So we got the glass from a local supplier, sent them the bill. They reimbursed us really quickly. And sent pins and the beading, and I fitted it. But I've done it, and I'm really pleased with it.
Because originally they were saying that they're only going to pay so much towards the glass, but in the end they paid for everything. So how much was it in total?
It was £120 the glass. And they paid for all of it, and it's what you'd expect now.
Can I sit in it? Do you mind?
Go
I want to get back in there. It looks so different. I think Jonathan put the pictures online originally. Oh wow! I mean, it's so hard to believe. I know this sounds stupid. It's hard to believe it's the same summer house.
It is.
Because it just looks completely different. I mean, you can see absolutely everything now, and you might even use this as a home office.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, that's the plan. The Wi-Fi works down there, so it's really, really flexible space now.
Let's move back out again. So, your wife, I know that she was finding it very, very stressful before. Is she okay now? Is she a happy bunny?
She is, yes. Yeah, and she's been sitting in here and enjoying it, so that's really good. So, all very happy.
So I think it's time to give the company the full horn.
Absolutely, yeah, do it.
Let's get it done. Fantastic stuff. It looks brilliant. And have a great remainder of your summer. Hopefully, we'll have a good September and you can use this a bit more and enjoy it as a family anyway.
So I expect it will get warm when the children go back to school.
I hope so.
Usually the way.
So it's all sorted. Thank you to the company. And we can now go to Christine. Good morning, Christine.
Good morning.
Good morning. So, Christine, without mentioning any company names, tell us your story and let's see whether we can help you. Away you go, please.
Okay, thank you. So I've moved into a new build property. When I moved into the house, this was 23rd of July, there were no bins at the property. So I contacted the housing company and they told me the quickest way to get them would be to pay for the bins myself and then they would issue a refund within 3 working days.
Right.
So I paid for the bins, £123.60, sent them the receipt. I received an email back the same day asking for my bank details. So I sent those back straight away and we're now a month later and I still haven't had my refund.
So it's £123.60 that you paid for this bin. That's a lot of money for a bin, Christine.
So that's basically for 3 bins. It's your recycling, your normal waste.
Okay.
Bins.
So we will deal with that in a bit, but where's the bins? Have you still got the bins? Are they there or not there?
No, so the second issue is I'm still without any bins. So I haven't had any bins for a month. I've been contacting my local council to try and get this sorted out.
Where are the bins? Simple as that. Where are they? And I'll be calling the council myself later. And I would even be willing, Christine, to go and pick that bin up for you this afternoon myself. Or 2 or 3.
They probably won't let you.
Well, I don't know. I mean, if I explain just how urgent this situation is, surely they would listen and think, hang on a minute, this person has bought these bins, she needs them urgently, we are from the BBC, we will go and collect them, what's the problem? Obviously, I don't know some of the background stuff that's been going on between you and the council, but what I will do, I will make that phone call myself after the show. I'm hoping that you're going to be on the show with your new bins, because that is what you deserve. And you can put this nightmare behind you, Christine, because it does sound like an absolute blooming nightmare. It really does.
It's not great.
Well, hang on the line. We'll take your details and we'll get that call in. And I'm hoping that come 2 days' time, you'll be live on this show and you'll be a happy bunny. Robin purchased a new TV. It was 17 months ago. 32-inch TV. Cost him a penny short of £199. But 3 weeks ago, the picture sadly went and he's had absolutely no joy whatsoever from the retailer?
We took it back to the shop where we were told, as it was out of warranty by 3 months, I would have to ring the manufacturer. They gave me another number to ring their engineers. Rang them. They gave me another number for the local engineer. And we would have to pay in the region of £150. Then we would have to send the report to, I think it was Widnes in Lancashire. That's as far as we got.
Well, that's all a nonsense, because the Consumer Rights Act of 2015, which is the legislation that protects you, states an item must be fit for purpose, must be of reasonable quality, and must last for a reasonable amount of time. That is the law. A company cannot overrule the law. If you buy a product that doesn't last a reasonable amount of time, you have the right to complain to that company and expect them to sort it out. The contract, and we say this often on the show, the contract is with the company that you paid the money to, i.e. the retailer, and not the manufacturer. Robin is back on the line right now. Robin, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. So I had, Robin, one of those awkward conversations yesterday afternoon. So I've gone off to speak to the company, and it's always awkward when you have to tell a retailer what the law is. It never goes down very well. However, off the back of that phone call, I got a good feeling, and I was hoping that they were going to phone you and get in touch and hopefully sort this out. So all that happened yesterday. What's the very latest for us then, Robin?
Well, before we do that, do you read the Bible at all?
Occasionally, yes.
Well, like the parting of the sea, you have achieved in less than 24 hours than it's taken me in 3 weeks to do, and I call that, well...
So what's the very latest? How do we stand this morning then, Robin?
Right,
What's happened?
I had a phone call from a lady, I don't know where she came from, but she said, take the set back into the shop, get the manager to ring me at the executive office. Okay, yes. She was then going to send an email with a credit note or whatever she called it on it. Right, I took the shot. I took the telly this morning after I eventually got there, and yeah, okay. Told them all what I've just told you. Right, manager came, picked it up, more or less threw it on the floor. Not literally, but not as gentle as I was handling it.
Right.
And the till person said, right, come down to the end. And she started punching these numbers in. I came out with a piece of plastic with $189.99 on it.
So you have got a credit note to use again with the retailer off the back of our conversation.
It's actually a gift card.
A gift card.
So that is there to spend until 2024.
John is on the line. Good morning, John.
Morning to you.
Good morning, John. So no company names. Tell us your problem, and hopefully we will be able to help you. Away you go, John.
Right. Well, I've got a wheelie bin full of recyclable. Where I live, everyone's got a wheelie bin to recycle, right? So they haven't collected it for 7 weeks.
Wow.
It's supposed to be collected once a fortnight.
Right.
Right. Now, what I'm trying to say to you is that if any other organisation treated me like they're treating me, as a customer, I'd be gone. But I've got nowhere to go.
Right.
So that's my complaint. And also, with the recycling, I used to recycle newspaper.
Right.
I stopped doing that. That goes in landfill, which I don't like, because we have trays in this area. And every time they collected the tray never came back.
Well, John,
so after
let's
3
just...
trays, and my son having to paint the name of where I live on it, the house where I live, we gave up.
Well,
now,
John...
the bin that I rang again on Monday, they said they were going to pick it up last week. They didn't do it. And a chap came on the phone and said, well, it won't get picked up till your next collection, which is next Tuesday.
Well, About 4 weeks ago, John, my blue bin wasn't picked up and it was overflowing out the front and nobody knew why. We were told it was new people that were on the route and they couldn't come round to our house and pick up the blue bin. So what are you being told? So why aren't they collecting your bin?
All I've been told was I've really been told nothing except we haven't got blue bins, ours are black bins for the recycling.
Okay.
So, I don't know what I'm trying to say, really.
But when you phoned them and said, look, this bin...
They said last week, 3 days running, they said we'd come tomorrow and make a special collection.
Right.
But they didn't come. This Monday, I rang up, and the chap answered the phone. He said, you won't get it done till next Tuesday, with the following Tuesday, which is the normal collection day. He could have been very sharp in the block, because I know when it's a bank holiday, they don't pick it up on the same day.
No, that's true.
They pick it up on a Wednesday, not the Tuesday.
But by the sounds of it, you see, at least I was given some sort of excuse as to why it hadn't been picked up, and then they made a special delivery, and it was taken away. They've told you absolutely nothing, and this bin has been there for 7 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. 7 whole weeks. And one time they said it wasn't there when our team came to pick it up. It wasn't there. I said, funny, the garden bin was next to it, and that was collected. Then the next day they came to me and said, let me think. They said the next day they made a mistake. It was a new member of staff. So that's the only time they kind of gave in a bit.
Well, if it was a new member of staff, so what?
I know. They need to be told, don't they?
They've still got a job to do. It's like me coming in and saying, oh, I'm standing in for Jonathan this week, but I'm not going to do the consumer problems. I mean, if somebody new is on the job, they should be told what to do.
Your job would be gone in 5 minutes.
Well, yeah. It probably would, to be fair.
So what I'm saying, as a customer,
yep.
If they were any other organisation, I'll just say goodbye. But I can't, can I?
It sounds to me, John, like you're pulling your hair out with this one. You've had enough, hence why you've come to us. 7 weeks, no answers whatsoever. So look, what I'm going to do this afternoon, as soon as I come off air, I will put a phone call in to the relevant people and we will ask them what's going on and very simply, when can they come along and pick up your rubbish? And we'll see what they've got to say.
Okay.
Because I think sometimes... this is what happens on this consumer show. Sometimes when you pick up the phone and you try and get through, you can't get through to the right person.
No, I know.
You're just in a
long
line of people.
Times.
Yeah, absolutely. And suddenly the BBC phone up and we get straight through to the right person and hopefully we can resolve it as quickly as possible. It might just be a glitch in the system. We don't know. But John, rest assured, I will make that phone call on your behalf later and let's try and get this sorted for you.
I do appreciate your help.
It's a pleasure. John, stay on the line. I'll pass you back to Hannah. We'll take all of your details and we'll speak to you soon. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much indeed. Bye.
So to Sandra. Sandra recently had her car washed by hand. She was sat in the car at the time and to her horror, something happened that she was not expecting.
I got a bottle with the washing fluid in it. And that actually flew off the jet wash, so at force, and hit my bonnet. I stayed in the car. They washed the car. He came up to my window and said, oh, it's just a plastic bottle, it's fine. When they'd finished, I didn't go anywhere, just took my seatbelt off, got out the car, and then he said, well, there is actually a dent. He'd seen everything that had happened, and he came over and said he was the manager and that he would sort it. I needed to get a quote from my garage. It's coming up between sort of 120, £550, and now I've kind of lost contact with them. They've sort of were going to sort it, and they're just not contacting me now.
Sandra was very frustrated. Her car had been damaged. It was no fault of her own. This has been going on since the beginning of July. And Sandra is back on the JVS show right now. Good morning, Sandra.
Morning, Justin.
Good morning. So just to bring our listeners fully up to speed with this, because we were trying to get answers for you from the company, and I was investigating this case back in early July. So I phoned the car wash, and we have named them on the show. It's the Rarer Hand Car Wash in Radlett in Hertfordshire. So when I phoned the manager, he said to me, do you mind hanging on for a second? No problem. And then out of nowhere, he'd put me on mute and phoned you. So I was then listening to a conversation between him from the car wash and you. Now, at that point, I couldn't record because he wasn't aware that I was recording. But as soon as he brought me back into the conversation, I informed him that I was recording that very conversation so we could play it on the radio. And for those that missed it, this is what happened. You have asked Sandra to go off and get a quote elsewhere. That's what she's done. Your company have caused the damage to Sandra's car. Sandra wants to get the car fixed as quickly as possible. We're just trying to get this sorted out so we can all move forward. That's all.
£480. You've got the quote there, haven't you?
Are you willing to pay the £480 so we can bring this to a resolution?
Why you said 480? Why you said £400?
Are you willing to pay that money or not?
Why you don't answer what I was asking you?
I'm asking you the question, sir. Sandra has provided you with an independent quote for that work to be carried out. Your company has caused this damage. You've admitted that on text and on this conversation. Are you going to pay that money or not?
Why you don't answer to me to answer to you?
You answer my question. Are you going to pay that money, yes or no?
I was asking you first.
How much is the invoice for, Sandra?
It's £480.
£480. OK. So you have asked her to go off to get an independent quote for the damage which you've caused, and it was accidental. We know you didn't do it on purpose. These things happen. All we're asking for you to do is pay that bill.
If you want to go to different garage, which one it costs 480, I don't quote which one is £300. So if you go to your place to fix your garage, I'm gonna pay £300, 350, and what is the next amount until 480? You're gonna pay that because you don't feel good in this side. I go people to repair your car. If you know garage in your side and it's more than that, you can find with £1,000. I find one with 300 more cheaper. You know what I mean?
So, Sandra, the gist of that conversation was him saying, look, I've got a friend who can do this. We'll come and pick your car up for you and we'll take it away and get it fixed. But you went to that garage and you just didn't feel comfortable, did you?
No.
You okay?
Yes, yeah. It just brings it all back.
Well, we're trying to get this sorted for you. So, in the end, he agreed on the phone that he would spend the 480 quid to get it fixed at the independent garage. You went off and you got that quote. Now, I know that you've been speaking to the garage. They've been trying to get hold of him so they can book your car in to be fixed. How's that gone?
No, they've had no news at all. I chased him on the 9th of July again when he'd said that he was going to pay the money and he didn't. I then chased him on the 16th and he said, I'm paying the money in on Monday, and it wasn't paid and it hasn't been paid.
Well, myself and Jonathan have been trying to get hold of this gentleman now for quite some time, and I eventually got hold of him on Friday, Sandra.
Okay.
He was in Bulgaria.
Right.
And I said I was from the BBC, and I was asking him a very simple question. When are you going to pay this money to bring this to a speedy resolution? He screamed at me and said, I told you I was going to pay the money. And I said, that was weeks ago. What's the very latest? He then screamed back, don't ever phone me again, and slammed the phone down.
Wow, okay.
So that's how that conversation went. Now, we are going to get you some expert advice in a second, but unfortunately for you at this stage, Sandra, and there is a risk with this, but it might be court action for you. Now, for you to take somebody to court, there's always a risk it might not go your way, but we wanted to find out who is actually behind this company. Because if you look online for this company, there is no website, is there?
No.
There's no company details whatsoever. There is just a mobile phone number for this hand car wash, and we phoned that number again on Friday, and the phone was put down, and I was shouted at. So I went back to the car wash on Friday just to see whether they are still trading, and this is what happened. So you can probably hear that sound. That tells you this business is still up and running. They're still open. It's called the Rear Hand Car Wash. Everywhere you look in this car park, there are signs saying warning private property. Looking on the signs for the hand wash itself, lots of signs about how much certain things are. No telephone number, no address, or any details whatsoever which would tell us more about this company. But there's 5 members of staff who are currently working here. the company next door, completely unrelated to this hand car wash. I popped in there a moment ago and I asked him who the landlord was for this land. Very helpful. He said to me that he was here via a broker. So he phoned the broker who organised his rent to be here in this car park as well. The broker is happy for me to email him. So hopefully we can have some sort of a conversation later on email and we can find out who actually owns this plot of land and we can tell them what has been happening. So, no details whatsoever there about the company, Sandra, but I just want to get some expert advice for you, because on the line is Gordon Baumer. He's the Executive Director of the Car Wash Association. Gordon, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for coming on. Have you got any advice for what Sandra could potentially do here moving forward and how she could get this money back? Because her car's been damaged and they haven't paid her.
Yes, I'm sorry to hear this, Sandra, all this trouble just to get a car wash. So I think it would be useful to speak to the local authority on this, which is Hertsmere Council, as I understand. If the car wash, obviously I don't know the car wash and I don't know all the specific circumstances other than what you've told me this morning. But if it's located on a car park, did they get consent for a change of use? In other words, planning permission, because it's constructed as a car park, not as a car wash. The other thing that they would need is a permit to discharge foul water into the drains. They need to be discharged into foul drains, not into storm drains, which is illegal to do. So there's a couple of things there. The other thing I would also draw your attention to is we do a lot of lobbying around this issue. We represent the compliant car wash industry, so that includes people that run automated washes on forecourts, conveyor washes and compliant car washes. You could bring it to the attention of your local MP, which I believe is Oliver Dowden. So that would be another route for you to take, I think.
Because we just need to find out who they are. So if court action did go ahead, we need to know who Sandra would be taking to court. Because at the moment, Gordon, there's very, very little information. How can people, and let me put this in layman's terms, Gordon, if I had a watch that was worth, let's say, £20,000, would I take that to a bloke in a gazebo in a car park with no company details whatsoever and ask him to fix my watch? I wouldn't. So why do we do the same thing when it comes to cars, which is probably the second most valuable asset that we've got behind our property? Why do we do that?
Yeah, it is unfortunate. What's happened in the UK, we have become the hand car wash capital of the world. Unfortunately, because of the ease of setting up a lot of these types of operations, and unfortunately the local authorities have not done a huge amount, it's been allowed to carry on almost as a free-for-all. These places set up, they don't have, or not all of them, but some of them don't have proper permission. They don't have the requisite insurance. They're not paying their workers the national minimum wage. And in the worst case scenario, some of them are actually fronts for organised crime. So we are finding that there's a lot of this that's happening. One way to look at an operation such as this, or to actually get some clues, is to actually download the Safe Car Wash app.
Right.
This has been compiled by the Cluer Initiative, who are part of the Church of England. And this actually takes you through a series of questions for you to answer, which gives you some clues whether the actual operation is bona fide or not.
So if people are thinking about getting their car washed over the bank holiday weekend, a lot of people will be thinking about that. Download that app, because that will hopefully give you a better idea of who's actually behind the company who's washing your car.
Yes, that's correct. And a lot of it is related to, unfortunately, people trafficking, modern-day slavery.
I mean, obviously, in this case, I need to make this very, very clear right now. We are not suggesting that this car wash is part of organised crime. You're talking about a more widespread issue. Just to make that absolutely clear at this stage before you carry on.
Yes, and also I'd like to make absolutely clear that you can't tar every hand car wash with the same brush, because there are some very good compliant hand car washes, such as Waves, for example, who operate in supermarkets, and they are very good. So there's, unfortunately, what's happened is it has been unregulated, and we are working with the Gangmasters and Labour Abuse Authority and the Responsible Car Wash Scheme to try and establish some form of industry accreditation that car washes can sign up to.
Gordon, very helpful advice. Thank you very much. That's Gordon
Thank you,
Baumer
Gordon.
there, who is the Executive Director of the Car Wash Association. So, Sandra, moving forward, we can hopefully find out the company details for you. But whilst you're here, and it's a very simple case when you break it down. So your car was damaged accidentally. It was certainly not done on purpose. Look, these things happen. We are just appealing to this company to put it right. It's been going on since the beginning of July. I've been shouted at. You've been shouted at. We just want to put this right. So let me appeal right now to the powers that be at the Rarahan Car Wash in Radlett in Hertfordshire. It's just behind the car park in Budgeons. And again, it's got nothing to do with Budgeons. It's just the location. To the powers that be at that organisation, can you simply get in touch with us so we can hopefully take this forward? Sandra, we've made the appeal. Hopefully they'll come forward. And in the time being, we'll try and find out more about the company and who's behind it, OK?
Yes, thank you.
Sandra, I know it's been very, very frustrating, but I'm just hoping and praying that after, 8 weeks or so, that we can finally get this sorted for you.
That would be, much appreciated. I mean, he has promised, so hopefully he's got that opportunity to do that, hasn't he?
Yeah, and he said to me on the phone on Friday before he slammed it down that he was going to pay. So he's still saying that he's going to pay. We just need to know when. All right, Sandra, let's leave it there for the time being, and we'll talk to you very soon. Thank you. Tell us your problem, and hopefully we will be able to help you. What's been going on then, Claire?
Okay, so at the end of April this year, my son broke his leg and therefore couldn't use the bus that he uses to get to school for the remainder of the year.
Can I ask you straight away, how did he break his leg?
Football.
Yeah. Claire, when I was a young kid, I broke my arm a week before the cup final when I was 10 years old. I had to turn up to the cup final and watch all of my friends in the cup final. And I was in tears, Claire. I really was. Well, we lost 1-0.
Sorry for him, but...
So he broke it playing football. These things happen. So that was back in April. Carry on,
So we didn't know how long he would be unable to use the bus for. So I didn't contact the company until the middle of June.
Right.
At that point, he completed a contact form, but I hadn't got anything. Hello?
I'm here, Claire, I'm here.
I hadn't got anything back from them. So I completed another contact form asking for a refund and completed the proper form and sent the bus pass back. And at the same time, I asked for a refund for the period of time he was off school due to the COVID restrictions.
Right.
Didn't get a response. On the 21st of June, I called again. They weren't able to put me through, so they sent an open ticket to the team asking them to contact me.
Yep.
Nothing.
Okay.
On the 8th of July, I had an email informing me that they would refund the amount for the COVID restriction period. So it's 40 days worth.
Yep.
And that would be back to the method that I originally paid for the bus pass within 10 working days. Nothing.
Nothing at all?
No. I've checked all my cards. There's nothing.
How much do you pay for this bus pass every year?
Last year, I paid £726.
Whew. That's a lot of money, Claire.
Yeah.
So
on the
726 quid. Yeah, sorry, carry on.
13th of July, I raised another contact form. Sent the forms back. Nothing. 22nd of July, raised another one, asking where they paid the refund. Nothing. They acknowledged receipt of that on the 4th of August.
Claire, can I make this a little bit simple? Because we've got a lot of dates and a lot of information going on. So you're looking for a refund on two separate incidents here.
Yeah.
As we are sat here right now, I can only presume that you haven't received a penny back.
Nothing back and nothing from the organisation. No correspondence from the organisation.
OK, can we just break down the figures here? So it's £726 a year for the bus pass. How much are you due back for the 40 days because of COVID?
£151.25.
151. You've got all your figures there, Claire. I mean, if this was Dragon's Den, you'd be doing very well. And also the issue when your son broke his leg, how much are you due for that?
I think that's around £190.
So in total, that's a lot of money that you're due back here.
And I've had to pay out for his next year's bus pass already.
And how much is that? Has it gone up?
Are you sitting down?
Go on then, Claire. How much?
£850.
Wow. 726 to 850. That's a huge increase. Have you been told why?
Well, that's because the organisation is no longer running the bus service.
Right.
So we've had to go privately.
Well, that would explain it. But that's a big hit for you as parents. And the last 18 months, we've all had a difficult time. That's a big increase.
It's more if we don't pay it in one go.
Right. Well, what we can certainly do is try and get you some of this money back that you say you're owed to put against that. So we're looking at 190 and also 151.25. That's what you're due back. And I can almost hear the frustration. It's like, I've done this on that day, that on that day, that on that. You've done everything. Certainly listening to your story this morning, Claire, you have tried. You've done everything in your power the right way to get this sorted, haven't you?
I have tried. And then I asked how I complained. And they said, well, you can complain. You're in your right to complain, but it will take you longer.
The thing is, you just want the money you're owed. That's all you want. I mean, you're not asking for much, are you, Claire?
No.
How is your son now?
He's much, much better, and hopefully he'll be on the bus in the next week after.
Does your son want to be a professional footballer when he gets older? Because when I was his age, I wanted to be a professional footballer. And then somebody said to me one day, listen, Justin, you're just not good enough, son. Forget it. Go and try something else.
He just does it for fun, but he wants to be able to do it for fun. So.
Well, hopefully he'll make a full recovery. OK, I'm going to pass you back to Hannah. Hannah is there right now. Hannah, when you went to school, did you walk or did you get on a bus?
I walked to school.
Yeah.
In the rain and the snow and everything else.
I used to walk to school as well, but all of my mates used to go to school on the bus, and it really felt like I was missing out.
Yeah.
Because they'd get off the bus, they'd be cheering.
Yeah.
It looked like a great start to the morning. Is your son the type of boy that gets onto the bus with his mates and he loves it, or does he hate it, Claire?
He doesn't particularly enjoy it. No.
Really? Maybe the buses when I was at school were a lot more entertaining.
Yeah, everyone wants to sit at the back. That's where the cool kids sit, isn't it?
Well, I'm going to pass you back to Hannah. Hannah, can we go and have a word with the relevant people and just say, look, Claire has got all the evidence here, bit by bit. She's owed the money. Very simply, what is going on?
Absolutely, we can definitely put that call in.
I'm really hoping, Claire, that we can have you back on the programme tomorrow with some good news from somebody saying, we're looking into it and we are going to organise the refund. Hopefully, anyway. No promises, but let's get those calls in and we'll speak to you soon. Thank you, Claire. Now to Clara. Clara came to the Consumer Show with a very unique problem. She's got issues with seagulls.
They've been here with us for a long time, but year on year, I think they've found more and more places to nest, and their flock has got bigger and bigger and bigger year on year in. We live quite near an industrial estate, so there's a lot of large buildings with flat roofs. So it's absolutely perfect for them for nesting, but it's not so perfect for us because they then decide to make all sorts of noise any time of the day or night, 3 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, midday, 6 o'clock in the evening, all the time. They're very, very noisy.
I will say it again, seagulls, they are all of them. Thugs. Sue me. So we have been looking into this, and Hannah, you've been making some phone calls. What is the very latest with the seagulls? Clara's not here today.
No.
Because she went to a hotel last night to have a night away from the seagulls.
I don't blame her. So we initially spoke to the council, her local council, who basically came back to us and said these birds are protected, which we knew, but that DEFRA, who are the Department of Environment, Food and Rural Affairs, they can allow control measures to be taken place where there's a public health concern. But they ultimately said that the responsibility of resolving this gull problem lies with the landowner. And we sent Clara away to go and speak to companies that are in that industrial estate. Well, I went to DEFRA because that was who was mentioned by the council to see what they had to say about it. And they again said the gulls are protected, which we know. They said they can no longer legally be controlled under general licences due to their conservation status. However, Natural England encourages local authorities to implement non-lethal measures to manage the urban gulls. So what they're basically telling me is that the local authority can apply for a licence from Natural England in order to put some control measures in place for the gulls.
Interesting. So we've now got 2 avenues to go down here to try and help Clara and the locals, because they've been woken up 2 or 3 times in the night.
Absolutely. And I think we can now go back to the council and say, we've spoken to DEFRA, they say that you can get this licence to control these birds. Why aren't you doing that? Why have you decided not to do that?
So here's another update on this story. As I was saying, Clara was not around last night because she was taking a night off from the seagulls. But I will be going to Clara's property at 4:45 tomorrow morning.
That is a committed effort from you there.
The alarm clock will be going. I will be going down to record what's been going on. And what we're going to do with that report, we will now send that to the companies in that local area, but also the council as well, and just say, look, this is the situation. These people have been woken up throughout the night because of these seagulls. Are you going to do anything to help?
Yeah, because I think unless you've really heard the impact these gulls are having, how can you really understand and sympathise with the local residents? So
we are going to be there very, very early in the morning tomorrow, and you will hear that report on the Consumer Show tomorrow at some point between 11 and 12. So hopefully we can help those local people out.
Justin Dealey. BBC Three Counties Radio.
Now to Christine. Christine moved into a new home in July, but there were no bins at the property. So she contacted her housing association, who advised her that she should pay just over 120 quid to a local authority for 3 bins and they would reimburse her. But a month later, still no bins, still no refund. And the bins were really, really important to Christine.
I've been contacting my local council to try and get this sorted out. It's a bit embarrassing for me, but I've explained to them that I have a medical condition where I have daily clinical waste. Without me going to the dump 5 times a day, it's going to be sat outside, tied up in bags. And now this is just attracting so many flies. We had that bad weather the other night with the rain, and I'd come downstairs to get a drink, and there were maggots. So I emailed them at 4 o'clock in the morning and said, for the last hour, I've been trying to get rid of these maggots from my garden. It was like something out of a horror movie. They basically weren't really that interested and said, you know, I have to just wait for them.
Well, Christine is back on the JVS show right now. Good morning, Christine.
Good morning.
Good morning. So we last spoke to you on Tuesday, and you had said to the relevant people that you were willing to go and pick up the bins. I even said on air myself I would go and get the bins for you on Tuesday. We were that adamant that this needed to be done as quickly as possible. And Hannah, you even phoned the company during the programme, didn't you?
I did. As soon as Christine was on the programme, I was on the phone to try and get this sorted.
So very simply, Christine, what is the very latest for us? Have you got your 3 bins?
I have my 3 bins.
Well done, yes.
I'd never thought I'd be so happy to receive a delivery of bins. They came the same afternoon that we spoke on the radio.
Wow, as quickly as that?
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Isn't it amazing how for weeks you've been trying to get your 3 bins that you paid over 120 quid for, suddenly you end up on a BBC programme and they are delivered that same afternoon?
It's fantastic, but at the same time, it's a shame that it's taken that.
Yeah, I totally agree. So, in the initial conversation, you described the area outside your house as like something from a horror film. It's not like that anymore, is it?
No, thankfully. I slept well last night knowing that I could put my rubbish in a bin.
Now, there are 2 sides to this story. So, what I'm going to do for the time being, I'm going to give the organisation who delivered those bins to you at long last, I'm going to give them this. Oh, it's a horn. Christine, I go to bed and I dream about the sound of that horn on this radio show. But there is 2 sides to this story. Because, yes, you've got the bins, but we need to try and get you the money back from your housing association that you've paid for the bins. Hannah, what's the latest with that? Do we know?
Yes. So I spoke to the company that suggested that Christine needed to buy these bins and that they would offer her a refund. That's her housing association, which is Sage Housing. So they've provided me with a statement this morning. They say that they're aware of the situation and apologise to the resident for the inconvenience that this issue has caused. They understand that the local authority received payment for the bins twice, once from the developer and once also from the resident. And this should not have taken place. Sage has spoken to the local authority to organise organise a refund to Christine, which she should get within 7 to 10 working days.
So when was that sent, that statement?
That statement was sent to me this morning.
So that came in this morning. Christine, have you seen anything on your online banking at all that would suggest that maybe that's gone in already?
No, nothing at all.
Not
but I did
yet.
have a phone call about an hour ago.
All right.
Saying, with no apology, but it did say I should get a refund within 7 to 10 working days. So I guess we'll have to wait and see about that.
Yeah, there seemed, when I spoke to them, there was a bit of confusion because obviously, Christine, you had been told that the quickest way for you to get these bins was for you to pay out for them and then ask for a refund. It seems that the company had also purchased them for you, so there'd been 2 payments made. So they were a bit confused as to how that had happened. But
I mean,
fingers
sometimes
crossed.
those things happen with new build properties.
Yeah.
However, they are engaging with us, Christine. They are engaging with you. They have promised you a refund, which you hadn't heard before. So what I'm going to do at this stage, Christine, is give the company half the horn. And as soon as you phone us and you say to us, ka-ching, the money is back in my account, they will then get the full horn. Does that sound good?
That sounds perfect.
Hannah, you've done amazing work on that.
Thank you.
Well done to Hannah. And Christine, you sound like a different person today. This is the Christine we all
Tell you,
wanted
I
2
was
days ago.
Elated with my bins.
That could be one of our lunchtime conversations. Things that have really excited you that maybe shouldn't have excited you. I think we can get
You
something
know what?
from
I'm
that.
sorry. I'm so excited. I even went out and bought some wheelie bin numbers this morning. How sad is that? But, brilliant.
Christine, brilliant. I'm so pleased that you're happy over your bins, and we'll talk to you very soon when you've got the full refund. Thank you very much. And good morning, Tim.
Morning, Justin.
Good morning, Tim. How are you today, sir?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, very well indeed. Well, in saying that, I've been up since about 4 o'clock dealing with seagulls, but more to come on that very soon. But Tim, you are here because you also have a consumer problem. No company names. Tell us what's going on and hopefully we can help you.
Sure, thank you. So to give you a bit of background, I live by myself in a 2-bed flat.
Okay.
And during the winter lockdown, I moved back to my parents' house because I'm working from home, and I needed the company basically.
Tim, I've got to say, moving back to your parents' home, I did it about 2 years ago for 3 months. Isn't it nice?
Yeah, it was really nice. My sister was there as well, and it was. I don't know. It was really nice just to have their company.
It's cosy, and sometimes we take advantage. Mum, bacon sandwich, please.
Yeah, I mean, I did have a few bacon sarnies on my parents, so yeah.
So you've moved back to your parents' home. What happened next?
So basically, I noticed that my electricity bills were increasing. So not just monetary terms, but also the usage, so like the wattage, if you like.
Right.
So I rang my energy supplier, and they basically said to me that the best thing to do was get a smart meter installed.
Right.
So Wednesday, 5th of May, I had my smart meter installed, and then I monitored it myself once the smart meter was installed, and I switched off my electricity from within my property.
Yeah.
And the smart meter was fluctuating massively,
Right.
to the point where it had like the red light on the smart meter, and it was saying I was using 1.7 kilowatts of energy.
Yeah.
So it didn't make any sense. And then I did the opposite. I turned on my electricity, and then I turned on everything. So things like the kettle, oven, toaster, all my lights. And I did that for about half an hour, and the highest energy usage was 40 watts. So when I turned everything on, it was 40 watts. When I turned everything off, it was fluctuating.
Right.
So it wasn't consistent. So I rang the company. They said they'd monitor it for 2 weeks, and I informed them that the property was going to be unoccupied for 2 weeks. So I was still at my parents'.
Yeah.
I rang them in 2 weeks, and they confirmed that the usage wasn't consistent with an unoccupied property. And then they forwarded it onto their investigation team. And from there, it was very back and forth, lots of emails, me chasing them via email and phone. And then the 16th of July, they said to me, basically, everything was normal from their side, and they didn't see an issue, and they weren't going to send someone round to assess my meter.
Why not?
Because for them, they said that everything was okay, and they didn't
But
see an
you've
issue.
proved to them that it wasn't.
Yeah, I did, yeah. So I sent them an email with all my readings and stuff, and I said I wasn't there, but they said, well, we don't know that you're not there. And I was like, it was very frustrating. So fortunately, because I listened to the JBS show most mornings, I then informed them that I was going to get an independent report by an independent electrician.
Yeah.
They advised me not to do that because of the money, the fact that it would cost me money. And I said, well, I want to get this done and checked out.
Of course.
So 22nd of August, I then had an independent electrician come round, and he confirmed that the meter that's recording my usage is actually my neighbour's meter.
How interesting.
Yeah, and the thing that's frustrating is I live by myself, and I'm not here that frequently, really. Well, like maybe a couple of days a week, really, but that's as far as it goes. And my neighbours, I think there's 3 adults that live in their property. So I'm sure I'm out of pocket financially because of this.
Talking about financially, how much did that report cost you, Tim?
£72.
So you have gone to the company with evidence that would suggest that these meter readings are wrong. You've also gone to get an independent report that's cost you 72 quid. You've gone back, and still they're not willing to listen.
I forwarded the report onto them on Monday. They did ring me yesterday, actually.
And said what?
And they basically said that they were going to raise it with their IT team, and they were going to call me on Tuesday for an update. That's the crux of the story.
So you say Tuesday, it's now Friday. I can only presume that you've heard absolutely nothing, hence why you're here.
I'm sorry, so what I meant was they're going to call me next Tuesday.
Right, next Tuesday, okay.
But all they've said really is they're just going to raise it with IT.
I mean, it sounds to me, Tim, like you've just had enough. You've gone away, and to be fair, Tim, you've really done your homework here. Going off and getting that independent report, that's got to count for something. I can just almost hear the sheer frustration. So I think what we need to do is go off, have a word with this company, and say, here's the evidence, here's the independent report, what are you going to do about that? And it's as simple as that, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, basically. It's really frustrating because, to put it into perspective, so the 16th of July to the 16th of August, I received an electricity bill for £50.26. And I looked at the duration, and I was at the property for 4 nights during that period.
Yeah.
And that just doesn't add up at all, and I'm really energy conscious. I switch off everything. I switch off lights.
It's happened to a lot of people that I know as well, Tim. And you know yourself what you do and what you use, and you'll get your bill, and something just won't feel right. And that's what's happened in this case. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, look, I'm going to pass you back to Hannah. We'll take all of your details, and we'll go away this afternoon. We'll have a word with this company, and we'll see what they've got to say. I mean, what I would say, Tim, in my experience of working with Jonathan on this show, it's sometimes just about getting the right person at the right time to take that call. Once you've got the right person, you're away. And those magical letters, BBC, sometimes get us through to the right people very, very quickly, whereas you're on the phone, hanging on for ages, getting even more frustrated. So leave it to us. Relax, chill, calm out. It's the bank holiday weekend, Tim. We'll get a phone call in later on for you, and I'm hoping that we'll have you back on the show next week with some good news, okay?
Oh.
It's all about goals.
They've been here with us for a long time, but year on year, I think they've found more and more places to nest, and their flock has got bigger and bigger and bigger year on year in. We live quite near an industrial estate, so there's a lot of large buildings with flat roofs. So it's absolutely perfect for them for nesting, but it's not so perfect for us because they then decide to make all sorts of noise any time of the day or night, 3 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, midday, 6 o'clock in the evening, all the time. They're very, very noisy.
Well, Clara and her neighbours are on the case. They have their own WhatsApp group to brainstorm ideas on how they can get the gulls to move on, but they don't seem to be getting anywhere, hence why they came to the Consumer Show. And Hannah, you've been looking into this story.
I have.
You are a seagull expert now.
I certainly have become more of one over the past few days, that's for sure.
Absolutely. So I went to the area earlier on this morning. More to come on that very soon. But just before we play that report, you've been making phone calls, putting emails in to various people. What's the latest with this?
Yeah, so the first thing we did was speak to the council, and the council were very much putting the responsibility of resolving this issue with the landowners, and the issue could be raised with the building owners by the complainant in order to get that resolved. So we sent Clara off to try and speak to all of those businesses involved in the area. But they also mentioned that DEFRA, which is the Department for Environment, Food and Rural Affairs, allow control measures to be taken place when there's a public health or public health safety concern there.
Right.
So that's when I went and spoke to DEFRA, and they had a slightly different take on things and seemed to think that there were some powers that the local authority could use to control large gulls if there was a specific risk to public health and public safety. So it's now a case of us really going back to the council and asking them exactly why they're choosing not to invoke these powers. So that's the next support of call for us, and hopefully we'll be able to send them some audio that you've collected to really express the problem here for Clara.
Before we play this report, Hannah, it's a very personal question, but has a seagull ever pooed on your head before?
I've never been pooed on, but I have had my ice cream stolen by a seagull.
They are thugs, aren't they?
Which is actually worse.
Stealing things like ice cream. So, we are going to send this report to the businesses and the local council as well. My alarm this morning went very, very early. So I got up and I went to see Clara and the street and the gulls. This is what happened. So it's 4:25 a.m. I'm going to head off and listen to these seagulls. Not in Brighton or Southend, but in Hertfordshire. There we go. I can see them on the roof of the building. The thugs have now appeared. Just behind the properties, you've got garages, and then you've got this huge warehouse-style building, which has got a flat roof, which is where the seagulls are. You can hear them in the background right now. And these properties here, they're a matter of what? 30 yards away. So in the summer, when it's hot and you've got your windows open, you've got all this going on as early as 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm also told that they go through the night as well. That's going to wake you up. So I'm just going to walk up the road and meet listener Clara. She lives halfway up this road, so she's not even as close to these seagulls as she could be. They're not as loud today, and I'm told there's a good reason for that. But for those that have missed the programmes in the past, this is what they have sounded like down this road before in Hertfordshire. I have seen the seagulls, I've heard them.
They're tweaking a little bit, aren't they? Just a little bit. They haven't gone off on their massive, here we all go into flight mode. I think that tends to happen more around sunrise, so we can hear them. They're starting to go now, but this is quiet. They're still over there. When they fly over the house, then you can hear them much, much louder. Here's a few.
There they go in the sky now. There's 4 up there at the moment.
Well, this is a lot less than what we were having, just even a few weeks ago, but certainly a couple of months ago, because they're migratory birds, so they're starting to leave. They're going back to wherever it was they came from, somewhere hotter than England and its gorgeous sunshine.
But they will come back again next summer. Yeah. So this problem will just keep going and going and going.
It gets worse and worse each year because they breed and there's more of them each year. So now's the best time to act because, as I said, they're leaving their nests, so the roofs will be empty, and now's the time to proof them so when they come back they choose somewhere else to go.
How many animals have you got, by the way?
I have 6 cats, and none of them catch seagulls.
What are their names?
I've got Bob and Brisby, and Brisby got pregnant and ended up having Charlie, Darwin, Smokey and the Bandit.
Well, we have seen them. We've heard them.
They do exist.
We've also heard the clip that you sent through to us. So what we are now going to do, we are going to send this off to the council because they can actually potentially act on your behalf. But also we're going to send the clip to the businesses as well. In your experience so far, have the businesses been quite open to conversation about this?
So one responded within hours, which was amazing. I think I hand-delivered the letter around lunchtime, and by 4 o'clock in the afternoon I had an email back, and they're saying they're aware of the problem, they're already trying to do things about it, but they're not sure what to do or how to go about it. So brilliant for them. And one of the businesses has replied, not to me, but to the Liberal Democrat councillor who's also contacted them, saying, no, nothing to do with us, we had work done on our roof a while ago and there's no birds up there at all.
There they go again.
Yeah. Lovely.
And you live up here. Yeah. The houses, I was saying a moment ago, that back on, that's about 30 yards away, and they are going to be woken up, especially in the summer with the windows open and that sort of noise going through the night.
Exactly that, yeah. I mean, it's not too bad where I am, and I'm fortunate that if it does wake me up, and it does, I just roll over and go back to sleep. Some people, when they're up, they're up.
Yeah.
And that's it, night over.
I mean, there could be people saying, it's 5 o'clock in the morning, Justin. You are out talking about seagulls in a street. There are certainly more interesting consumer cases that you could be covering. How would you argue that? How would you come back from that?
I would say just we were desperate. We didn't know where else to turn now. We'd sort of tried everything, and I thought, well, someone somewhere might know. Even if you guys can't help, you might have a listener that can.
But the feeling up and down the street is very, very strong. It's waking people up. It's affecting their lives. You just want somebody to come forward and try and help you.
Yeah,
so it is a relevant consumer problem. And I always say to people, put yourself in the shoes of the person that you're listening to. How would you feel if you were woken up every single night by seagulls?
Yeah.
In Hertfordshire, not Southend, not Brighton, Hertfordshire.
Exactly. I mean, if you go away for the seaside, and have a stick of rock and a kiss me quick hat, you kind of expect the seagulls and it's part of the parcel. But when it's your home and you live here and it's every single day, it does get draining.
I know on Wednesday you had a night off from the seagulls. You went away for the night. Was it a good night, Clara?
Oh my gosh, it was so funny. So I was watching the sunset. It was absolutely beautiful. I was only in Kent. I wasn't far away. And a flock of ducks went over. And I videoed it and I sent it to the seagull group chat. And I said, what's louder, seagulls or ducks?
You thought, here we go again.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to pop down there just one last time. What we're going to do, we're going to send all of this audio, this report to the relevant people. And hopefully, for next summer, somebody will try and do something to help you and the local residents. We're doing as much as we can for you, okay?
That would be amazing. That would be so good. And we're all rooting for you. Please do something.
Well, here's a lady walking her dog. She had no idea that I was coming today. Just how bad is the problem down here for seagulls?
Very bad. I mean, sometimes it is quite noisy. You can't hear yourself think. I mean, I come from the coastline, so I'm used to some noise, but certainly not. It's got worse, I would say, in the last few months. But they're there. Can you see?
I can see a big flock of them.
Yeah, well, that's not a big flock. That's only a few. Normally, I've seen about 20 or 30.
And they fly very low as well, don't they?
Yeah, they do. They do. Skimming the rooftops.
Well, it's nice to meet you. It's now 5:30 in the morning. Have a great day.
Thank you, and you, and you.
So more to do on that story for Clara and the gulls. Hopefully this time next year that situation will be resolved. And good morning.
Hello.
Hello, Jan. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Lovely. So no company names. Tell us what's been going on and hopefully we can help you out. Away you go, Jan.
Right. Well, my son and daughter-in-law bought us some vouchers for tickets for a theatre, which we bought through an agency, and it was fine. It was the Only Fools and Horses, but obviously COVID happened.
Only Fools and Horses again. Have you seen that story in today's papers about the person who went to his own funeral in a Del Boy car? How good is that, Jan? It's a great story, that. I love that. So clearly you're an Only Fools and Horses fan. You had tickets booked for the show. So what's going on then, Jan?
And it was fine. Obviously, we could pick the tickets up at the box office, and then COVID happened and the world stopped.
Yes.
And basically it got rescheduled and rescheduled and rescheduled to May 2020. We then got an email in March to say that it was going to be rescheduled again, and they were hoping to reopen on the 1st of October 2021.
Right.
And we would be hearing very shortly, within the next couple of weeks, when our next hopefully date would be.
Right.
Since then, we've not heard a dicky bird, and I've tried to telephone them, and the telephone is being shut off. It doesn't work. I tried emailing them, but you have to put a reference number on, and our reference number is not the same configuration that they want, so I can't email them.
Very frustrating.
Yeah, I went on my account to see the events, past and present, and nothing's showing, so I can't use the chat. So I've been going round in ever decreasing circles, and I don't know what else to do.
Hence why you're here. The show itself, some shows have reopened. Only Fools in the West End, is that up and running again, Jan?
Well, they're advertising for tickets at the moment.
Right.
If anybody wants to buy them.
Me. So, obviously you're very frustrated. You just want to know what is going on, because after this very, very long wait, you just want to book your tickets in to go and see the show that's been paid for.
Exactly. I mean, they weren't cheap because we decided to go to London. So you're talking, what, 230, 240?
And how many tickets is that for?
It was for two.
230 quid for 2 West End tickets?
I had to take my husband with me.
Are you sat on the stage or something? That's a lot of money, Jan.
I know.
Wow.
Yeah. They're not cheap.
No, they're not. In saying that, everyone that I've spoken to that has seen this show, they all say the same thing. They say it's absolutely brilliant.
Good.
And trust me, Jan, you will eventually get to see this show. So look, what I'm going to do... What do you love about Only Fools so much, by the way, Jan?
It's not so much me, it's my husband, because we have to pick one that we both liked.
Right.
And obviously we got to go together because my son bought it.
So what does your husband like so much about Only Fools then?
I'm not sure, but I think it's one of those programmes, isn't it? I mean, it's been going for so long and it is amusing, and I think it resonates with people.
I mean, even now, Jan, if my friends say to me, right, OK, weekend up in Newcastle, weekend up in Nottingham, wherever we go, we still say we are going to go on a Jolly Boys outing.
Yeah.
Because of that famous line in Only Fools and Horses. My granddad, he used to roar with laughter watching that programme.
Yeah.
He used to love it so, so much.
Yeah.
OK, I'm going to pass you back to Hannah. We're going to take all of your details. I'll give you my word this afternoon. I will go off. I will have a word with the right people for you. I'll certainly try to. And we will ask them what is going on with these tickets.
Yeah.
Is that a dog in the background, by the way?
Yeah, I'm dog sitting.
How many have you got round there, Jan?
Only one, but it's a French bulldog.
Is it? What's the name of the French bulldog?
Ivy.
Ivy.
But I actually think she's a throwback because she looks more like a British one.
Jan, I promise you I'll get on the case for you. I think you're brilliant. We'll speak to you very soon. Thanks very much. Now to Eddie. Eddie was driving around a roundabout when he clipped his car on the curb. He expected to be able to drive off and continue with his day, but sadly for Eddie, that wasn't the case.
As a result of that, my car thought I was in a crash because of all of the safety features and whatnot. So my car broke for me. And I was pretty much stranded in the middle of a roundabout because my car went into after crash mode. If this didn't happen, I would have just, driven on about my day and probably replaced my alloy. But I was on the side of the road for a good 2.5 hours. I got the mechanic to come out and he towed me home and then informed me that I should get it taken to a garage.
Well, Eddie did take his car to the garage and they said it was going to cost at least £2,000 to reset all of the safety features. Eddie didn't think this was fair and believes his car overreacted and he shouldn't be responsible for the reset. Eddie is back with us right now. Hi, Eddie.
Hello, Justin.
Eddie, welcome back to the show. For those that missed the conversation last week with Jonathan, just remind us how much you paid for this car.
So it is £22,000.
£22,000, and the car is still under warranty, isn't it?
It is, yes.
I know it's an obvious question, Eddie, but you don't have dash cam, do you?
I don't know.
Because obviously we weren't there at the time when this accident happened. We have got some advice to come for you very soon. We've been off to have a word with the manufacturer, and I'm afraid to say, Eddie, they are sticking to their side of the story. They still say that you had an accident.
Yeah, they will say that.
Have you had any phone calls at all from the manufacturer in the last few days? If so, what's been said to you?
So I had one yesterday afternoon from the manufacturer, from where I actually bought the car from.
Right.
And they told me that if I drive to their garage, they will have a look at the car and the damage and the issues personally, and they'll see what they can do. But the problem is, that garage I bought the car from is over 60 miles away.
Yeah, it's a long way away.
So it's not like I can exactly just travel up there, leave my car there, and then come home.
You see, my big issue for you, Eddie, at the moment is this is an ongoing dispute between yourself and the manufacturer. My worry for you is that your car, if you were to have an accident and you're still driving that car, would the safety features still work? That's my fear for you at the moment.
Yeah, because the airbag light is on at the moment.
Yeah.
And if I were to be in an impact crash, the chances are that the airbag, they won't deploy and my seatbelt won't retract and keep me safe.
It's a massive worry. So the manufacturer have said to me that this is an ongoing dispute that's now been passed over to the Motor Ombudsman. Can you tell us more about that?
I forwarded the emails onto the Motor Ombudsman, and they said that they've had a word with them, that they're going to get back to me within, a couple of working days to wait for their response.
OK, stay there, because on the line we do have Bill Fennell, who's the Chief Ombudsman and Managing Director at the Motor Ombudsman. Bill, thanks for joining us.
Good afternoon, Justin, and good afternoon, Eddie.
Bill, for those that know nothing about what you do, what does the Motor Ombudsman actually do?
Right, well, we're the first and only ombudsman dedicated to the automotive sector. And what we do is we provide independent, impartial dispute resolution service that investigates and hopefully resolves complaints that consumers have about either their new car, used car, service and repair, a body shop experience, or an extended warranty. And this is all free of charge to the consumers.
So the case has been passed on to you. This is a really, really important question for me, Bill, and I'm worried about the safety of Eddie's car whilst this dispute is ongoing. How long will it take you to find out who's in the right here with this case? Because timing is everything here.
Yeah, and it does vary depending on the complexity of the case. From what I understand, we received certainly some additional files from Eddie yesterday. We've already contacted the manufacturer, and we've set up 2 lines of inquiry. One is with the dealership involved in this, and one is with the manufacturer. Now, a normal case, once we get all of the evidence from both parties, because that's how we work, we get the evidence from both parties, we then review that evidence, and we may ask for additional evidence on top of that before we make our decision. It's normally from when we get the case to making the adjudication is around 90 days, but we're currently running at 62. And where a case is either safety related, which is obviously in the instance of Eddie,
absolutely,
or we have a vulnerable customer, then we can put a priority tag on that, and then we prioritise it through our process.
So can you confirm to us right now that this is a priority case, and this will hopefully speed things up for Eddie and the manufacturer, but more importantly, Eddie?
Yeah, it is a priority case.
OK, so how long do you think? It's now the 27th of August. How long do you think it will take to get this case solved one way or the other?
It's always hard to say. What we haven't had back yet, and we're expecting this next week, is the evidence from the manufacturer.
Right.
I don't know, and you can ask, if Eddie can hear me, whether we've now had all the evidence that Eddie wants to submit for the case as well.
We can ask him now. Eddie, have you submitted all of your evidence?
Yes, there is all the evidence. So there's photos of the wheel where the alleged impact was.
Yeah.
And then you've got the photos of the warning lights that I get of my airbag and seatbelts.
So all of the evidence is there for you, Bill, already?
That's great. And then all we're waiting on now is just the evidence from the manufacturer.
Bill.
So my expectation is that will be there next week. I know next week is a bank holiday, but even so, I would expect to get that back in next week.
Well, that's really, really good to hear, because obviously we are worried about Eddie's car. We weren't there when the impact happened, but we are worried that his car is not safe at the moment. Bill, in your experience, £2,000 for a reset, that does seem like a hell of a lot of money for a car that was purchased not that long ago for over £20,000.
I think it really comes down to is £2,000 a lot to spend? If there was a significant accident, that £2,000 could have saved your life. So I can say, yes, it's a lot of money against £22,000. I don't know what the garage or dealership is saying needs to be changed.
But just your gut feeling on that, £2,000 for a reset if a car has allegedly clipped a curb, it does seem like a lot of money, doesn't it?
One of the questions to Eddie, does that include any, not just the reset, but the replacement of certain parts as well, such as the alloy wheel?
Eddie?
So the quote was to replace the alloy wheel, but they said to me that prior to stripping the vehicle, they might find a lot more damage, which there hasn't been as I've had it checked out. But yeah, that was to include one alloy wheel.
And so it sounds like actually, I don't know, I haven't seen all the details, but it sounds like the repair may not be as much as £2,000. But we won't know that till we get all the evidence.
Eddie, how do you feel about things at the moment?
Yeah, it's very good because it's speeding up quite massively.
It's just about getting the right answers. And here we have a situation where you're saying one thing, they're saying another. For those, again, that missed the conversation with Jonathan, just how hard did you hit that roundabout, that curb?
Roughly about 15 miles per hour. And it's not that I didn't go up the curb.
No.
It was just a simple scrape of the wheel.
And Bill, in your experience, have you received a lot of complaints about this recently, where people are saying the same thing to you, that they've clipped the curb, next thing you know, all of the safety features have gone off, and companies are asking for a lot of money to reset the vehicle? Is that something that you've come across in your experience or not?
Not in this manner. We've had one other case, I think, and this is probably over the last 5 years, where it was similar, but it wasn't to do with clipping a curb, and it was a different manufacturer and it was a different car.
Right.
So this is only our second case where it comes.
So this is very, very rare for you as the Ombudsman to be dealing with a case such as this.
Yeah, I think. It's always hard to know, but I would say it's quite a rare occurrence that, in this case, clipping a curb, or in the other case of it was going over a sleeping policeman, actually would activate the safety systems.
Well, we'll leave it here for the time being. Bill, I really appreciate you coming on. It's good to know that you're on board with this case, and it's good to know that it's a priority case. So we'll speak to you very soon. Thanks again for your time, Bill.
Thank you, Justin.
That's Bill Fennell, the Chief Ombudsman and Managing Director at the Motor Ombudsman. So, Eddie, more work to do. As soon as we hear anything, we'll let you know. And as soon as you hear anything, will you let us know? Is that okay?
Yes.
We'll speak to you very soon. Thank you very much.